the home of the common Joe and the common Sally in the know, even more so than all those media talking heads.
Woo! Well. Happy late New Year. This is my first podcast of this new year, and we're going to start off with, not surprisingly, the team that has put the most positive vibes out there since the Outlaw Posse was formed. That being the Oklahoma Sooners, who continue to have positive news and exciting news to come forth out of Norman as they go forward into their first exciting year of SEC football. The recruiting's looking great, and now they're tweaking their staff at the right times, in my opinion, to make for an exciting future for the Oklahoma Sooners. And one of their recruits has even been recognized with an award. Let's talk about it. The Outlaw Posse has made it another year. I never thought I would have got this far, but without some great guys and gals out there helping support the program like you guys and gals out there in the Outlaw Posse, it wouldn't have been possible. And here they come riding in once again. It's the Outlaw Posse, now in effect. And today's four horsemen shout-outs go to Dakota Green, Richard Burton, Rick Birdwell, and Shane Moore are saddled up and ready to go and help me with this first podcast of 2020. Also, let's go ahead and get the comment of the day out of the way. It goes to Storm 4601, says, NIL situation must be addressed immediately or greed is going to destroy college football. Players must play. This is a chance for the NCAA to make themselves relevant again. What is the answer? Heck, I don't know. And that is our comment of the day. That comes from the Florida State video that I done a few videos back. And if you want to get your badge and get deputized and be a random four horseman shout as well as possibly the comment of the day, there's a little join button, a subscribe button. Just $2.99 a month, 75 cents a week. If you're on an Apple phone, you may have to go to your laptop or computer to be in the Outlaw Posse. Also, I can be reached on Twitter at OCF Productions. Now, getting right to it here. Seems like we got a lot of positive vibes coming out of the Oklahoma camp. Heard today that the defense coordinator, Ted Roof, was let go. I don't know if he did that on his own accord or if he was forced out. It's probably a mutual parting of ways, so to speak. Don't know if I buy that or not. I think it was more Brent Venables suggesting that he step down. But it goes along with what I've been saying, and a lot of Oklahoma fans did give me hell about it. Jeff Levy wasn't the only problem and issue here for Oklahoma. Ted Roof served his purpose in the years that he was here at Oklahoma, and now it's time to go to the next level and go to the next guy that's going to get Oklahoma back to the level that they're accustomed to being, and that's in playoff contention as they go into their first year in the SEC. They will now have a new offensive coordinator and a new defensive coordinator and a new conference. New. Sounds like all positive vibes to me. As a matter of fact, one of their recruits that was considered a diamond in the rough, bring that up for y'all in just a second, says Oklahoma signee lands Gatorade Player of the Year. Andy Bass, a quarterback who will likely play running back for the Sooners, received the state's highest honor for football. He was named the Gatorade Player of the Year. So that was something that sort of surprised me. I mean, a lot of people weren't on to Andy Bass. I think he was a 3-star recruit. But from what I understand, he's probably going to be moved up to a 4-star. And he's going to move to running back, as they said. And it just goes to show you how you can't always go by the stars. You got to have coaches that can evaluate these players past the stars that are given to them by these recruiting services. And Brent Venables has shown so far that he's been able to do that very well. Jackson Arnold was not a 5-star quarterback when he first started recruiting him, and now he is. So being able to get the 4 and 5-star athletes is a great thing, but if you're able to evaluate those 3 stars that become the diamonds in the rough, and you're able to get those guys, that goes a long way into building not just a great program, but a championship great program. And that, I think, is what Brent Venables moving towards with the kind of recruiting that he's been doing. It says more accolades are rolling in for one of Oklahoma's most dynamic 2024 signees, and this time it's the big one. Andy Bass, a high school quarterback who projects to play running back in OU, is the Oklahoma Gatorade Player of the Year. 6 foot, 200-pound Bass passed for 3,144 yards and 34 touchdowns and rushed for 1,480 yards and 31 touchdowns during his senior year as he led Heritage Hall to the 3A state championship. Also, it says here, Bass was dominating the game as the Chargers staked a big lead early, but he went down with a knee injury. And that concerns me a little bit. Now, some of you Oklahoma fans out there may have more of a scoop on this than I do. How serious was the knee injury to Andy Bass? Bass told all Sooners that he expects to be playing running back at OU. He averaged 10.7 yards a carry as a senior, utilizing his 10.5 speed in the 100 meters, the fastest time in the state last spring. So, once again, comes back to being able to recognize and evaluate players without just going on 4 and 5 stars alone, in my opinion. Now let's backtrack to what I was talking about at the start of this video, and that is the fact that Oklahoma is now tweaking its staff. Brent Venables has moved on from Ted Roof, and he is now, seems like they're saying here that they are honing in on Jacksonville State defensive coordinator Zack Alli to take on the same role of Norman. Matt Zentith, I don't know how to pronounce his last name. Y'all can help me with that. Is expected to hire Jackson State's Zack Alli as its new offensive coordinator. The 29-year-old Alli helped Jacksonville State win 9 games and ranked 33rd nationally in scoring defense in just his first season on the FBS level. That's pretty good considering where he was at in Jacksonville State, which is don't have all the resources in the world in order to do that. And also, he's pretty young, so this guy's already had numerous stops where he's impressed a lot of people at a very young age. So this guy could be in for the long haul, as opposed to Ted Roof, who was pretty well up in age. I think he was 60, 65 years old or something like that, maybe even older than that. The news comes on the same day that OU formally announced the team will part ways with former defensive coordinator Ted Roof, who held the same position for 2 years. Alli was a student assistant and graduate assistant at Clemson from 2011 to 2018, working under Brent Venables for the majority of his time with the Tigers. Alli made stops at Boise State, Louisiana Monroe before taking the defensive coordinator jobs at Jacksonville State to become the youngest defensive coordinator in the nation. Very impressive. And it says, like both Roof and Venables, Alli's background is coaching linebackers, with the 29-year-old assistant serving as linebackers coach at Boise State, ULM, and Jacksonville State, while widely reported, citing unnamed sources, the move has not yet been made or official yet. And backing up for a second, let's go back to this one. According to the Anniston Star, Alli was the youngest defensive coordinator, as I just mentioned, at the FBS level when he held the title at Louisiana Monroe in 2021 at the age of 28. This is from the Ref on Twitter, I'm assuming. Zack Alli was asked in 2021 how big of a mentor Brent Venables has been for him. He's like a father figure to me, says Zack. A great man, fun to be around, and I try to imitate him in everything I do because he's been successful. This is the main thing that I'm really impressed with, that Brent Venables is going out and getting someone that thinks just like him, someone that can be cohesive and have a good chemistry for the team going forward. To be able to recognize where your weaknesses are and the issues that need to be addressed right then and firmly speaks volumes of how Brent Venables is able to make the tough decisions already early on in his coaching career. He's only been a head coach for 2 seasons now, but we've already seen that Brent Venables is capable of not only recruiting at a high rate and being able to evaluate players, but he can also evaluate his coaches and know when it's time to move on and do something different in order to keep the positive trajectory of the Oklahoma program moving forward like it is now. Especially going into the first year of the SEC, it's time to get it done. Get everybody in place that you need. You've had 2 years of getting things straight, getting your program instilled, and now you're going into your third year, which is always usually a pretty good year to indicate how a coach is going to usually do in his tenure at whatever school or whatever organization he is a head coach for. Now, some people may get in here and try to be negative Nancy and a Debbie Downer and say, well, you've lost both your coordinators. That could be a bad thing. But I think, like I said, it just shows to me that Brent Venables knows when moves need to be made. Or, in Zack and Jeff Lebby's case, it wasn't a move that was need to be made. It was just a coach that capitalized on the fact that he has impressed people enough to be a head coach at a major Division I school in a Power 5 conference like the SEC, and that being Jeff Lebby at Mississippi State. I think going forward, to me, it just feels like positive vibes. Those people that come in here hating on Oklahoma and whatnot, I just think it's them basically being scared of realizing that maybe their gleeful and spastic celebration that they were doing back when Winky Boy left. I think it just comes down to the haters out there can't pull their foot out of their mouth quick enough, or they can't eat the crow or admit when they're wrong, plain and simple. But there are some more defensive coordinator candidates out there to backtrack a little bit. Now, I know Zack Alli is probably the guy they're going to hire, but some others to consider, to me, would be Phil Parker of Iowa, Blake Baker of Missouri, and Jim Leonard, who was the former Wisconsin defensive coordinator that everybody was real hot on a few years ago. For some reason, he hasn't got back into college football. I don't know if that's a red flag or what, but I think Jim Leonard would be a guy that you need to take a look at also if the Zack Alli thing is not already signed and delivered. And that's all I got to say about that. There's a little heart down here. If you don't mind, you can make a one-time donation, a little heart with the money $sign. Smash that, throw a few dollars in the coffers. And as I said before, you can also join the Outlaw Posse. It's not but $2.99 a month, 75 cents a week. That's just a half a bottle of water for the Outlaw. And if you're on an Apple phone, you may have to go to your laptop or your computer to join the Outlaw Posse. You'll get your badge. You'll be deputized. You'll maybe be one of the random 4 horsemen shout out, as those 4 guys were earlier today, as well as possibly be the comment of the day. Like, share, comment, and subscribe to this channel. That's the big 4, and they're free. And as always, KMCA to all the other teams. Class is now officially dismissed.